Hi, welcome back. You're still stuck with me, Corrine Malcolm. We're going to kick off our Women's Elite 23K panel. I'm joined by 5 especially fast, exceptionally fast women that are going to throw down tomorrow. On the mountain behind us, they're going to give us some advice. They're going to tell us about themselves. I'm excited to learn from them all. And then we're going to open up at the end to Q&A questions from the audience. So get those gears turning. Captive audience, you can ask them basically whatever you want. I don't think we're going to have anything too weird. But to kick things off, I would love to just have you all introduce yourself again to the audience, for Rachel in particular, who's had a 2-hour stint with us this morning. But yeah, so your name, where you're coming from, and then why you're so excited to be at Broken Arrow this weekend. Allie, if you want to kick us off, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Name, where you're from, where you're excited. Hi, I'm Allie Mack. I'm mainly from Colorado Springs, Colorado, but I travel around in a van with my dog, and I am so excited to be here. This is my 3rd time, and it's just such a special environment, just being 3 days in the village. My dog Harley usually just roams around and has the best days of her life, so she motivates me to come.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel from Portland, Oregon, and I'm really excited to be here because my body feels good and I'm healthy, and I'm really, really happy about that. I had a baby about 9 months ago and then got a stress fracture, so I'm just stoked to run with these amazing women and enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Awesome. I'm Anna Gibson. I'm from Jackson, Wyoming, and I've been living out in Seattle, so I just came down from there. And I raced the VK. It was my first Broken Arrow race yesterday.
She won the VK.
Really excited to come back and get another lap around the big course this time.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm Tabor Hemming, and I'm from Kremlin, Colorado. And I love just coming out here because I finally get to run on dry trails and not on too much snow. And then also just the community out here. Like, there's so many people that we get to run into and just feel connected to trails.
I'm Janelle Links. I'm from Colorado, and I'm excited to be here because it's a beautiful place and some of the best trails in the world.
They truly are, and I think we've got people who have come back year after year. Janelle, I remember watching you win in 2021, and it was super freaking cool, so I'm really happy to have so many returning familiar faces. And I guess I would love to hear from each of you. Allie, I'm gonna start with you. I'm gonna pick on you a lot today because you're my end seat. But you all come to trail running from a different place, a different space, a different part of your career right now. And I would love to hear from each of you kind of what has brought you to the trail and what you find most exciting about racing on the trail.
Yeah, I ran cross country in college, grew up doing other sports, but found running later in high school. And kind of after college, I live by Pikes Peak in Colorado, and so I always wanted to race the Ascent or a marathon, and you can't really do that when you're in the college system. And so immediately when I got out, it was kind of like, now I have a chance. And I didn't realize there was such a trail community until 2014 that year. And I just realized, like, to me, running's running, like, whether you're on the road or the trails. But when you start to dial it in, I realize, like, the places that trail running takes you is just endless and far greater than just being on a road. And so, I think that's what brings me to like it so much.
Yeah, similar to Allie, I ran track and cross country at the University of Minnesota. I know you didn't run there. You ran at Colorado, right? Yeah, but ran in college, and then kind of moved out to Oregon for medical school, took some time off running. I was pretty burnt out from college, but then after that, discovered trail running in Forest Park, and then started doing some 50Ks, and it was honestly just the community that's kept me coming back, like meeting so many of you. You just keep coming to events, and those relationships just get stronger and stronger, and people tell you about other races you should try, and then it's just this really, really cool community and very supportive, so.
Well, I'm definitely the youngster rookie of the group up here. I just finished my college career at University of Washington. I was actually just racing at NCAA's a week ago, so quick turnaround. But I've been dabbling in trails for a long time. I ran on trails all through high school as I was competing in cross country and track, and then I decided to focus on cross country and track in college, and had a pretty short little trail season every summer, but was always being really careful not to get hurt. and I'm really excited going forward just to kind of get to be more 50-50 and continue doing every type of running that I love. So yeah, Broken Arrow is a great place to kind of kick that off for me.
Yeah, so similar to Rachel and Allie, I ran in college. Actually, Allie and I ran at the same university, but kind of my husband and I came to crossroads in our athletic careers, and we were both traveling across the country and the world separately, and we were like, we wanted to do something together, and we were burnt out on our sports that we had already been doing, and we went to just a local trail race, and we're like, whoa, this is really cool and fun. And like we met a lot of people, and we saw that, wow, this is something that we can do together, and we can train together and experience life together. And so last year we transitioned to the trails, and it's, I think, the best decision that we've ever done, just personally for each of us, but then also for our marriage, because we do get to experience everything together, and we get to go to really cool places that are gorgeous, not just cities where you're running around in an oval or, you know, swimming in a pool. So.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the adventures you have coming up in just a couple minutes. Janelle, what about you coming into the trails?
Yeah, I ran cross country and track in college as well, and ran on trails as much as I could. I had some cool coaches at the first school I went to, Metro State, that would take us every Sunday to get on trails for our long runs in the Boulder area, and really fell in love with just that whole area of trails. And then after college, didn't really know about trail racing until, I don't know, like a few years after graduating. I was on the road and track mostly, and then like discovered there was this whole world that I just hadn't been privy to at all. And yeah, kind of as soon as that happened, I just dove right in and have been really enjoying all the new places, all the people, and yeah, just running in beautiful areas.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty spoiled. And speaking of running in beautiful areas, Allie, you were just over in Austria running in some other mountains, which is pretty darn cool. So Allie was part of our U.S. team over at the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships, which is very wordy but very cool. And now you've hopped a flight. You're back here with us. I would love to just hear a little reflection on, you know, from one trail festival to the next trail festival, you know, what it means to get to represent the U.S. over there, but then, you know, maybe how that's mirrored here in the community that they've created around Broken Arrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Austria was pretty darn special. Just I hadn't been there before, but I've been to Europe, but the mountains there were just as unique as they could be, and they did a very good job. I did the VK. It was pretty cool. And they did a lot of live stream, but what's so cool is Broken Arrow, I feel like, is one of the big, was a start for live stream in the U.S. I think Aerovipa had done a fair amount, but I think Broken Arrow is, especially for the shorter distance, is a great kickstart for like trail running to really become as big as it is in Europe. And so I think, it's mirroring what we're doing at Worlds and everything. And as cool as it is, I love seeing people from other countries, and that's a whole community in itself, but there's something about being back home and seeing all the friends we see here in the U.S. at different races. And I love it all. And I think it is fun to go from one to the next, because sometimes like you kind of have that like post-race depression down, and then you just hop to the next one. And here we are. Yeah,
you're like, I can't get the post-race blues if I'm just at the next festival.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it all year long, but I almost didn't come out. I had a rough weekend, but and then I did, and yesterday was a blast. Today's a blast. I'm thankful I'm here, so thank you to everyone that makes it what it is.
Yeah, we're very, very happy that you decided to join us here.
Oh, thank you.
We heard that when it was on the fence, we were like, oh no, we want to see Allie, so we're glad you made it. Rachel, you mentioned that you had a stress fracture this spring, or I guess midwinter, kind of. And I guess I would love to hear, you're here, you've been easing your way back into it, you're going to be on the start line tomorrow with everyone with that race bib on, and I think feeling pretty good, which is exciting. And I would just love to hear that reflection. We've all many of us have suffered a big running injury at some point in time, and they can be pretty devastating, both like physically and mentally, when it comes to trusting your body and feeling like you can do the things you want to do. And I would just love to hear how you dealt with that this winter and spring, now that you're here in June with us.
Yeah, it was really difficult. I'm sure anyone who's had an injury that sidelined them for, even longer than a couple of weeks, it's really hard, because I think we're all here because we love running. Even if you can't compete, I was kind of in that mourning phase of being injured, and I was like, all I want is to just run around the block and not have pain. And so to feel like that, 2 months ago, and to now be able to go run up the mountains with some of the best runners in the world is really just incredible. I think another thing that's I've been grappling with is when is my fitness going to come back? But I think it comes back pretty quickly. So I'm just excited to see kind of where I'm at, and just really, really grateful to be here.
And then you get to hang out all week until Tyler races Western States.
Yes, yeah, my husband over there is running Western States in a week, so it's a fun time for all. Yeah, kind of like Tabor and her partner, we get to share that together. So
yeah, it is super special getting to watch you both travel and race together and support each other. So we'll be cheering you on tomorrow, and then we'll all be cheering on Tyler. We're not biased at all next weekend at Western States. Anna, I think it's really cool. You kind of, I feel like, skirted over this whole oh yeah, I was at NCAA's last week, and now I'm here. And I think it's one of those things where it's you're incredibly fast, and we're so excited to have crossover athletes coming into the sport. The Hemmings, I think, with Tabor here, also are part of that new, young, exciting group of athletes coming in. And I would just love to hear, as someone who's dipped their toes into trail a little bit over the last couple summers, but I feel like has a lot more maybe coming down the pipeline in the next year or two, how exciting it is for you to get to mix it up, and how does that tie into the roots of where you grew up and your normal summer happenings?
Yeah, I mean, trail is something I've been super excited about for a long time, and I've kind of had to I can open the can a little bit in the summer, and then I have to squeeze it back shut. I'm oh, I can't get too excited about this. I can't race too much, and I can't run too many miles, and yeah, but I mean, it's my heart and soul's out here. I love the mountains so much, and it's been a huge part of why I fell in love with running in the first place. And I feel grateful I've been able to do I've had a high level track experience as well, and I want to continue to do that. I think the two go hand in hand a lot more than most people think. I mean, obviously a lot of runners have a track background, and so I just want to continue to explore both into the future. And yeah, like I said, I'm excited for it to be a little bit more 50-50 and kind of get to explore around this world a little bit more.
We're excited. We'll be definitely cheering extra loud tomorrow on the live broadcast. I'm going to have a great time spectating from my little booth inside. Tabor, you and your husband, I got filled in yesterday, are about to take off on what sounds like the most insane triple that I've heard from a short distance perspective. Can you share with the audience what the next 3 weeks look like for you?
Yeah, so we don't really like to do anything low key. We're kind of okay, if we're gonna go all in, we might as well go all in and really test our limits. People probably don't think we're that smart, but I don't know, we're not. So yeah, we're racing the 23K tomorrow, and then after the awards, we're gonna grab our bags and we're gonna head to the airport and fly all the way to France. So next Sunday, we can do the Mont Blanc Marathon. And then we didn't really think that was enough. We're we'll stretch ourselves a little more. And we're gonna fly from France, then over to Anchorage and do the Mount Marathon. So, we're just dabbling in all the distances with all the terrain. Yeah, I'll let you know how we're feeling July 5th.
Yeah, we'll check back in on July 5th to see how the triple goes. Is there something that you're most excited about through that? There's a lot of varying terrain, a lot of varying distances in that mix. Is there something that you're most excited about and something you're maybe most scared of in that mix?
Yeah, I'm most scared of the descent at Mount Marathon. People have said that it's death-defying, so my one goal is to not crash in a way that I could get injured. But I think the thing that I'm most excited about is just we get to test out all different distances with all different terrain. This weekend's snow, and then Mont Blanc is just the distance itself is intimidating. And then for Mount Marathon, it's the course technicality of it. And so the challenge of each being so different is what makes it exciting, and like the adrenaline rush and like euphoria for it.
I'm so excited for you all. And you can pick Allie's brain after this, maybe about the Mount Marathon descent. She probably has some good tips and tricks for that one.
I'm going to need it, Allie.
Janelle, you seem like a person that has, I think, both from like what you've done outside of running and then how you are on the mountain. I feel like you've got this natural tie-in between like natural environments and the way that you love and process trail running. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how those two things tie together for you.
Yeah, I mean, I just really like being outside. It's where I feel most relaxed and just the most myself, I think. I work as a gardener in Steamboat in Colorado during the fall, summer, spring, summer, fall. And been living out of my Subaru for the past couple years, which allows me to do that and then bounce down to Arizona in the wintertime. And I really try to just kind of be totally immersed all the time because I am a happier, healthier person. I lived in the city for, well, kind of when I was in college for a couple years, and I just felt like tense and kind of stressed, and I feel like I was a different person than like kind of after discovering the avenue of life that yields the best version of myself that I can be, at least like so far as what I'm looking to achieve, and that's just like well-being, happiness, not being stressed. So yeah.
I guess, last year I know you were here with us in June, and then I think about a month later or so, we had found out, or we had heard that you had an injury that you were dealing with. We heard from Rachel about her injury this winter and spring, but I guess kind of, you're a person who thrives outside, who thrives moving their body in that space, and I'm wondering what that time period was like. Were you able, just being outside, to get that same fix?
Oh man, it was a really hard, last year was a pretty hard year. I made it worse on myself because I didn't take the time I needed. I just kept running. I kept working. I have a pretty physical job. I didn't really back off from that at all. So, yeah, it took a month of being off at the end of the season for everything to totally heal. And I think a lot of mental growth happened in that time. I was able to experience the same sort of lifestyle, but, like meditating by a river, going out and playing guitar to relax, just doing nothing, just like looking at the trees, looking out into the desert. So I think on that side of things, like it helped to experience the same places and the same life, just in a different mode that wasn't like so focused on motion and more focused on like presence and stillness.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really valuable takeaway for everyone, that when you are faced with that big like setback or injury or whatever it is, it's hard. It takes something from you, and I think that hopefully most of us were told over and over again, you're gonna get stronger from this, or you're gonna learn so much, and you're like, I'm kind of done learning. I don't want to learn this lesson anymore. But I'm glad that you're back with us healthy racing this weekend, and we're so excited for you.
Thank you.
So I asked this question during the 46K panel yesterday, and it's something that I've been reflecting on a lot with athletes ahead of races over the last 18 months or so. And it's this idea that the advice that we give to others is oftentimes the advice that we need the most ourselves when it comes to a race or a moment or getting on the start line or that low that you might experience in Shirley's Canyon tomorrow. And so I would love to hear from each of you. Allie, we're going to start with you again, of what's that piece of advice that you would give the audience, but it's definitely something that you need to tell yourself tomorrow.
Yeah, what I've learned in the last few years for sure is that I get almost more excited for the after party and the community than I am like the race. And so if I'm like having fun, being myself, like eating good food, having some drinks. Like, I'm going to run better because I'm not overthinking. I'm not putting so much emphasis on the race as I am just being me. And so, like, yeah, last year went pretty smooth. I had some pretty tough races recently that mentally I still have to, like, work on things, but I definitely know I wasn't, like, being myself. And so that's what I'm hoping to do this weekend is just, like, enjoy the environment, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I think just remembering that people will love you regardless of your results. I think it's so easy to say that to a friend or a loved one, like, hey, I want you to get the race that you want because I love you, not because I actually care about your race results. Like, I want it because it will be fulfilling to you. But I think when someone tells you that, you're like, yeah, but like, I feel like people aren't going to care about me or aren't going to like me as much if I don't run well. But they will. They really will. And if they don't, then I will love you.
Rachel Drake will love you. You've heard it here first.
I mean, I guess this is sort of a similar spin on what Rachel's saying, but like, I think something I've been working on a lot is just running for the love of running and running for myself, because it's something that makes me super happy. And I think it's really easy, especially when you get into competitive races, to start running for your coach or running for, I don't know, recognition or other people to kind of like acknowledge you or whatnot. And I feel like I had sort of a weird track season, but I was not running any faster, but I had a lot of growth in terms of like figuring out how to run just because I love to, and like kind of getting myself back in line with like why I actually want to be here in the first place. So I think that's something I've been working on a lot, and it's been really freeing, like figuring out how to run literally just because it's my favorite thing in the entire world, just to like push my body hard in the mountains and be surrounded by amazing people like this community.
More isn't more. I think like I'm really good at thinking that like you just need to add on, and like in all aspects, like whether it's running or like you could do better with nutrition or like just adding stress to all areas of the life because you think more will make me happier or better. And sometimes it's totally okay to lay on the couch and watch Netflix and not do more. And so I have to take that page out of like, Eli's really good at that. He like does a run and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing core or anything. I'm just gonna like relax. And I'm like, why? Like, and he's like, because it's good for me. And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I should probably do that. So that's something I have to work on, is not always thinking that like you're not enough for what you're already doing.
Yeah, I think just being present for the experience and realizing what a gift it is to be able to run, and to be able to run somewhere like this, and to be able to run with people like this, and you know, like, it's just not to take it for granted and not to focus on things that don't matter. You know, like everybody's mentioned, like there are results, there are these external objectives that can kind of distract you from the moment that you're in, but that's doing nothing but robbing you from that. So I think just really, yeah, enjoying the course, enjoying the fact that I can run and the place that I'm in.
Yeah, I think that like all of that is super, super sound advice. And if we can even just take a pinch of it with us on our next run, our race, we'll all be better off for it. Tomorrow, for many people, it'll be maybe their first time running in snow, or their first time racing at altitude, or the first time racing that far, right? Adversity, pushing their comfort zones, etc. Like that is something that we all do with running oftentimes. And I would love to hear from each of you kind of advice for those who are stepping maybe up in distance tomorrow. Maybe it's their first ever trail race tomorrow. Maybe the 11K was it, or maybe it's the 23K. Like, what would be your piece of advice for those runners who are, you know, getting on the start line with maybe some trepidation in their hearts?
I'll say if tomorrow is your first time doing a trail race, and especially this one, the first half is a lot of up, and it gets tough, but just, like, know there's downhill coming, and it's a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, if it's your first trail race tomorrow, don't forget to look up and look at the scenery, especially up at the top. I think it's so easy to just be looking down at our feet. It can be technical. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Corinne.
gonna say, because you don't want to fall down.
Right, of course, I don't want you to fall down either, but I also don't want you to miss the beautiful scenery. And then the other thing is, like, make sure that you're eating enough food. If you're not coming from altitude, like, make sure that you're fueling during your race. A little throwback to the nutrition panel, but yeah, that's really important.
I would say if there's a little bit of trepidation in your heart, there's a lot in ours too. And maybe there's like an air of us being on this stage, knowing what we're doing and not being afraid. And I can't speak for everyone else. I'm obviously the rookie, but like I'm stepping up in distance tomorrow too. And I'm nervous about the uphill and the downhill too. And I think that's probably the same for everyone who's getting on the starting line. Like that's the nature of this beast. That's why we're all here, you know, to push ourselves. So if we thought it was a piece of cake, we wouldn't be here. And I think just leaning into that experience and thinking, yeah, like this is what I signed up for. Like I want this and I got this. We're gonna do it. We're all doing it together.
That's the pep talk we need.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. No, I would say like if it's the first time, long distance, I think the best thing is to take it in chunks. Like if you look at the race as like this insurmountable thing, whether it's the snow or the climbing or you're scared of the downhill, like take it one chunk at a time. Like, okay, I'm gonna make it to this aid station, or I'm just gonna make it to the top of this hill. And then by breaking it up, it doesn't seem so big in your mind. And like I do that in races even still, that, you know, it makes seem scary, but like just say you're just gonna make it point to point to point, and then you make it to the finish. And yeah.
One aid station at a time. And there are good aid stations out there tomorrow. They'll take really good care of you. Janelle, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's all the advice that's already been said. And just kind of treating it like you're going out for a run. And, you know, you're going out there to have a good time and push your body to its fullest potential. And to also reiterate Rachel's point, just fuel. I've made that mistake like way too many times for it to be excusable. But yeah, like take more than you think you'll need. Goose or chews or whatever. Just keeping your blood sugar stable, I think, really goes a long way, especially at altitude, like you mentioned.
Yeah, super, super solid advice. We're going to flip the tables on you just a little bit. Janelle, we're going to start with you on this one. And I just want to hear from each of you, what are you most excited about for tomorrow? And that's very much open to interpretation.
I'm really excited to run down on some snowy, from what I've heard, like snowy, faster downhills. Yeah, I did a little bit of that in Steamboat, and I don't know, I just had a ball. So probably that.
I love it. Tabor, what about you?
Yeah, Eli and I ran the course yesterday, like parts of it, and there was this really steep snow section, and you could get hauling. So like, kind of want to see how fast I can go. So that's what I'm most excited about. Because if you crash, like, you're not going to get yourself hurt, really. Like.
Glissading. Glissading is fun. It's on the menu for tomorrow. Anna, what about you?
I'm excited to experience the juxtaposition between my strengths and weaknesses tomorrow. Yeah, I think VK evidenced, I surprised myself a little bit, to be honest, with how well that went off of 1500 fitness. But I have done a small amount of downhill running in the past week since NCAAs, and I am a little bit nervous about that. So I'm excited to just see how much work I have to do in that category. And yeah, experience them both together, the uphill and the downhill.
Okay, I was really curious if we were going to have downhill in the snow, and Janelle just confirmed that, and I am so stoked because this is the time of year where my husband Tyler and I go up into the mountains, and we seek out the snow patches so that we can kind of run down them. And a lot of times it's only like a minute or maybe 5 minutes, but it is like the best minute of the whole summer, just running downhill on the snow. So that's what I'm excited for too.
Have you guys tried skiing?
Yes, we have tried skiing, but there's it doesn't compare. Thank you, Allie.
Shoe skiing for the win with this crowd. Allie, what about you?
I'm just gonna repeat pretty much what they said, but I can confirm, yes, yesterday I went up and came down. There was a group of us that glissaded the whole way down. It does seem kind of hard to get hurt. I mean, we're not going to say that, but my dog tripped me and I face planted in the snow. And
You look great.
thank you. Yeah, it was so much fun, and kind of wasn't sure if I was coming to race. And yesterday I was like, well, whatever happens this weekend, yesterday was worth it. And it kind of convinced me that, like, it'll be fun. Let's do it.
I think for those of you who are going into this nervous about the snow tomorrow, we can confirm that it should be fun. Okay? So if you don't like it, you can come complain to these ladies at the award ceremony tomorrow. I think with that, we should open the floor to some audience questions. If you have any, you should. I mean, they're sitting here, right? We've got a mic in the audience. You don't have to ask them anything, but it's kind of fun. I've been doing it for like 40 minutes. There's nothing you're dying to know from these gals? No secrets? No favorite snacks? Okay, we're gonna give them a huge round of applause. We're gonna wish them luck tomorrow. We can't wait to watch you race on the live stream and out on the course. Thank you all.